So it's very difficult to speak about such an exalted devotee leaving their body. However, as you can see with all the nice remembrances of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, that he's never going to be left. He's never going to be lost to us, because he's touched our heart by his kindness, by his excellence in spreading Krishna consciousness, distributing so many books of Srila Prabhupada, opening so many temples. It's a sign of pure love and devotion for his spiritual master. So that is the secret of success. When you can please the spiritual master. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj is superbly excellent in his service to Srila Prabhupada. I've known him for many, many years, and he's come to this temple many times. It's always been very, very kind and merciful. He's always been full of enthusiasm to inspire the devotees to chant their rounds, to come regularly to Mangal Arati, and in every way be a, let's say, stalwart disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's desire was to spread Krishna consciousness and to make Krishna known throughout the Western world and everywhere. And he had also to train some devotees who would become his lieutenants, who could help him in spreading the movement throughout the world. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj was one of the most prominent lieutenants of Srila Prabhupada. He was able to do miraculous exploits in spreading Krishna consciousness in India, in Russia, in the United States, and wherever he went. So therefore, he's with Srila Prabhupada now, and other areas spreading Krishna consciousness, because the soul is eternal. But more significant than that is when one has such a relationship with a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, he's with him now, and he's on his new missions in different places wherever Prabhupada is spreading the movement. He is one of his number one disciples, helping Prabhupada distribute Krishna consciousness. This Krishna consciousness movement is eternal. There's no beginning of it, and there's no end of it. That's why it says Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means there's no beginning and no end. And Dharma means our occupational duty. Our occupational duty is, since we're part and parcel of Krishna, we should always be engaged in Krishna's service. That's our real duty in life. And if we do that with love and devotion, then Krishna will help us in every way to succeed and eventually go back to Godhead. So that is exactly what has happened to Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He successfully followed every instruction of Srila Prabhupada, and he always distributed Prabhupada's books, had them printed, which is a tremendous, let's say, service, because Prabhupada wanted that more than anything else, that his books be distributed. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj was able to do that in a massive way. So therefore, he's with Prabhupada now, getting new duties to please his Guru, and we should always be recognizant of the fact that the relationship with the Guru is the most significant relationship we can have in our life. And when we get an instruction from the Guru, we should follow it very, very seriously, because that's going to define who we are spiritually. So you can see that Prabhupada was able to make many, many great devotees because he himself was a pure devotee that had no other desire other than to please Krishna. And he was able to instill that in the hearts of devotees like Gopal Krishna Maharaj and many others. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj, following Prabhupada's example, has inspired many thousands and thousands of devotees to chant Hare Krishna. Every time I ever saw him, he would always say, "Are you chanting?" And I would say, "Yes, I am." and anytime he would meet anybody, he would always say, "Are you still chanting? How is your chanting going?" Because that's our connection to Krishna. We connect to Krishna through chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare.
If you want to have a relationship with Krishna, it's very simple. Just chant Hare Krishna and accept Krishna Prasad. That way, just by doing those two things, you can go back to Godhead very easily. And that was basically, there's another aspect, and that is Prabhupada wanted his books to be distributed in a massive way. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj was able to do that, and it's going to continue to happen. That's his legacy. And he's still serving Prabhupada in that sense, because Prabhupada's books are going out in a massive way in his zones where he was responsible. So we have to see how no one actually dies. They simply change their body, but we have an eternal soul. So we should not be, let's say, mourning for a great devotee. We should be very happy that we had a possibility to associate with such a person, such a pure devotee, and that should inspire us to engage in regulated devotional service. Going to sleep early, waking up early. That was one thing Gopal Krishna Maharaj did every day. He would go to sleep early and he would wake up early. And he also worshipped his deities. He also did arti, in the first arti in the morning to the deities. And he would also do all the other things. Manage so many temples in India and in the United States and also in other places. And print so many books. Millions of books of Srila Prabhupada's writings. He never really printed any other books. He was strictly, concerned about Srila Prabhupada's books, which shows how much he loved Srila Prabhupada. And every time he would come to the United States, almost every year, we were fortunate that he would come here and inspire the devotees. He was an excellent preacher. He knew so many pastimes of the Lord, and he would explain them in a very nice way. And he was very, adept at educating devotees in how to become Krishna conscious. So that is like the greatest legacy a person can have, is teaching people to be Krishna conscious, because that's something they're going to hold and cherish in their heart the rest of their life, and also spread to others. So Gopal Krishna was a fantastic preacher by example and preacher by words. He was an example that is, let's say, you have stars in the sky and you have the moon. He was a moon. He was the greatest star in ISKCON as far as preaching and spreading this movement, and especially distributing Srila Prabhupada's words. So we can't really mourn his leaving, because no one ever really dies. We all have eternal souls. And because of all the service that he did for Srila Prabhupada, he is with Srila Prabhupada right now, continuing his service. What we have to do is follow his instruction strictly. That is, we should distribute Prabhupada's books, we should go to sleep early, wake up early, we should worship the deity, we should dedicate our life to spreading Krishna consciousness. This is the most important thing that we can do in our life. Everything else we do will not be, let's say, sustainable. But if you engage in devotional service, it becomes an eternal asset. All the work you do for a company, it's basically lost. But anything you do for Krishna becomes an eternal asset. Therefore, you can never be a loser in Krishna consciousness. So when you look at someone like Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he realized that, and therefore he gave up everything else he was doing and completely surrendered himself to Srila Prabhupada. When you understand this one point, then you can make such a glorious decision. Whatever you do in Krishna consciousness becomes an eternal asset that can never be lost. If you only do 10% in this lifetime for Krishna consciousness, it guarantees you two things. One, you're guaranteed to take birth again in a human form in the next life, and when in the next life you start from the point that you stopped in the previous life. So you cannot be a loser in Krishna consciousness. You can only be a winner. And therefore, if you're looking for something to do, and something that is most auspicious and most beneficial to you and to others, become a devotee. Surrender yourself to Krishna. Follow the example of great devotees. And one of the great devotees that's close to us is Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He surrendered himself completely to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada blessed him and gave him the Shakti, or the power, to be an excellent preacher, an excellent person who was able to inspire hundreds and thousands of people to take up Krishna consciousness. Whenever he had his appearance day celebration in Delhi, how many people were there in that celebration? You tell me.
So many.
Yeah, it was actually 50,000 people came to his, Guru, birthday. So,
there were those people who never been seen before. So the devotees were saying maybe they are the demigods who came to see the Maharaj darshan.
Very good. Yeah. So, yeah, the demigods definitely come whenever there's a pure devotee, and they want to also be present when that devotee is being glorified. So, today we're fortunate enough to have had association with Gopal Krishna Maharaj and other great devotees that are still around, and others that have left their bodies. No one really dies. Everyone has an eternal soul. So these devotees that have left us, they're with Prabhupada right now, and they're continuing their fantastic services for the Lord and under the guidance of Prabhupada. Now, what is there for us? We have to be inspired by the example of these devotees. We have to become very serious about Krishna consciousness, beginning with Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You cannot imagine how powerful the holy name is. When you chant the holy name of Krishna sincerely and think of the Lord as you're chanting, then Krishna, who's in your heart, takes a special interest in you and will empower you to do wonderful things in Krishna consciousness. So this was definitely the example of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. When he first met Srila Prabhupada, he had graduated college, he had a good job, but Prabhupada inspired him so much that he gave it all up and surrendered completely to him and took up full-time Krishna consciousness. And look at what he's done in his life. And it's an immeasurable, valuable asset for Krishna consciousness. The fact that he was such a great organizer, such a great preacher, and he was always focused on those things most dear to Prabhupada. His books, printing his books and distributing them. He understood exactly what Prabhupada wanted. He wanted his devotees to print his books and distribute them widely, as well as have festivals, as well as having massive prasadam distribution and so forth. But the main thing was printing Prabhupada's books and distributing them. And in that case, Gopal Krishna Maharaj was number one in ISKCON as far as printing books, Prabhupada's books, and distributing them. So you can understand how dear he is to Srila Prabhupada. There's a saying, there's a fact that when you go to Vaikuntha, at the doors of Vaikuntha, you'll be met by great, let's say, inhabitants of Vaikuntha. And the first thing they do is they shake your hand. They say, "Thank you very much for getting here. you have made a tremendous, let's say, achievement in your life." So you can just imagine the fantastic festival that has taken place with Gopal Krishna Maharaj entering into Vaikuntha, the eternal abode of the Lord, and being met by so many pure devotees. And there's millions of pure devotees in Vaikuntha. So it's the best place to go. Much better than going to Hawaii or anywhere like that. Vaikuntha, the name Vaikuntha means that place where there's no anxiety. So if we take seriously the example of these great devotees, we have Prabhupada, of course, who is unparalleled in his service, but now there are many disciples of Prabhupada who have served him with immense sincerity and love, and now as their bodies are no more functional, they leave that body and they get a spiritual body in the spiritual world, and a great, let's say, welcome by all the liberated souls in the spiritual world. So, we should not doubt the fact of the existence of a spiritual world. Atheistic people doubt that you have an eternal soul. They doubt the fact that there is a spiritual world or a world different than this world. So that's a bunch of nonsense, and we shouldn't listen to that type of narration. We have to always hear about the great achievements of transcendental devotees who became transcendental by being trained in Krishna consciousness and then become themselves trainers and making many, many devotees. So that was the forte, or that was the power of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He made thousands of devotees. He just distributed millions of books of Srila Prabhupada by training his devotees to be focused on book distribution. And he was always very kind, humble, gentle, and a well-wisher of anyone he met. He was always asking people, "Are you initiated? What is your name? Are you interested in getting initiated? Please come and take part in Krishna consciousness and be happy." So let us always remember the tremendous work and service that Gopal Krishna Maharaj did for Srila Prabhupada and for humanity, and be, let's say, grateful that in some way or other we came in contact with him. He came many times to this temple. He was very kind to do that. He was a very dear friend of mine, and I can't say how much I respect him and love him and miss him. But yet, I want to follow his example and try and do at least an iota of service like he has done. So thank you very much. And all glories to Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Ki Jai.
Yeah.